that point in time in my life, I felt like the harder I partied, the better that I played.
How?
My freshman year. Tuesdays were beer with the baseball boys at the house playing games, and Thursdays were hitting Northgate, going to the town. Drunk as you could get with all the dogs. Friday was the walkthrough. I go to the walkthrough at 10 a.m. in the morning, dying.
Smelling like a liquor store.
Like a liquor store. And then I would go through that walkthrough, and you can ask anybody that was on that team, and I hit those walkthroughs hard.
Right.
Hand in the fake, I'm taking off down the sideline for 20, 30 yards, running back. I'm sweating it out.
You try to sweat it out.
Oh, yeah. Then we get on the plane.
Right.
Get to the hotel, meetings. This is the system, and we're winning.
Right.
Now we're 11-2. We'd beat Bama, and this whole year is Tuesday, Thursday. Bang, bang, all week, every time, like clockwork. Every game of the season that year. And I'm getting better as it goes on. I ain't losing a step until that first offseason in 2013. That's when I'm starting to smoke more weed. That's when I'm partying a lot more. And then from there, I'm not taking care of myself in the way that I did the year before to go be special. And my numbers, my second year, totally
were better.
That's what I needed to do. At that point in time, I needed to get you guys or whoever it was on First Take or this and that, talking in the right direction that these are my, this guy went back and did better than he did the year before. Mm-hmm. So therefore, what is the next step? The next step is the league, the show, the big thing. And that's where I was at in my life. I felt like I did enough I was living my life at that point in time to appease what other people expected from me or wanted from me. I wasn't living really in the right way. I mean, obviously I wasn't, but I was there to tell people what they wanted to hear and had these people around me. This is how you need to carry yourself. And in that, I lost who I was. And when you lose who you are, you resort to other things in your life to numb that pain or to find yourself. And in that, I found smoking weed. In that, I found partying. And that kind of took over from there, 2013 on. There's no reason other than exactly what my behavior was 2013 on why 2014 and 15 in Cleveland didn't work out. There's no secret that I was doing the same thing on a Thursday night in Cleveland that I've been doing for the Thursday night in College Station. Number one, because I'm the backup. I just got handed all this money and I'm not taking it seriously enough because I don't know how to be a professional. I had no idea. Now I get thrown into this organization with a head coach that wants nothing to do with me from the day that I get there. With the defensive staff that our first day of offensive install, day one, they're running 6 DBs on the field in practice. I can't even point a fucking mic. I ain't never taken a snap under center. But Jimmy O'Neal or whatever and Mike Pettin are gonna come out to the field and throw fucking 8 DBs on the field the first day of an install? Talk about your confidence getting busted quick. Now I feel like I can't do what I was great at in Cleveland. And I'm partying and doing what I thought made me great. So you see how all these things are compounding together to equal a huge disaster.
You didn't feel you could do in Cleveland what you had been great at Texas A&M?
Not at all. I had no confidence.
Is this all you or was therapy involved?
A lot of self-therapy. I mean, a lot of times. And 2014, after my first season, I went and spent 3 months in rehab in Reading, Pennsylvania. And I didn't have a normal off season. I didn't get to I needed to work on myself. And at this time, I learned a lot through that and continuously learned as I went on. And this is a, collection of 10 years of not therapy every day, not therapy every week, but a lot of it is with yourself. Mm-hmm. You have to know who you are. Correct. You know who you are. Mm-hmm. You know what you do good. You know what you do bad. You know what you need your team for over here to help you with, Correct. To make you the best version of yourself. And for a long time, I've been independent in the sense that I feel like I can do it all by myself. When in reality, I need family.
You need a team.
I need friends. I need my team of people who want nothing from me, who want nothing but the best and love for me, and people that I can trust. Because a lot of time in the past, I didn't have people around me that I could trust really genuinely, truly looking out for my best interests.
Johnny, you mentioned that you partied, you like to drink alcohol. Was there heavier drugs involved other than alcohol and marijuana?
Oh yeah, 100%.
In college?
No.
Once you got to the league?
Yes. That's when the real like hiding and reclusing started. And man, I've given Cleveland a really, really hard time. And I think it's all more situation than it is really the city itself. Being in a fishbowl city like College Station ate me up because I couldn't move. I couldn't park my car the wrong way. I couldn't do anything. I was always spotlight.
Yeah, you couldn't.
And then I go to Cleveland, I sign with LeBron and Mav and them, and now LeBron comes back and I'm under LeBron's wing. So now this heat lamp's even hotter on me. I'm not playing. I don't got confidence on the field. And now I'm taking out my anger on my day-to-day, like interaction, my team. I'm struggling, but not letting anybody know.
Right.
So like my whole like gripe with Cleveland is not really anything as what I've made it to be. And I think that's just a bitterness of like how things went and me not realizing that I did it to myself for a long point in time.
Do you remember the first time you tried hard drugs?
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure.
What was it about it that made you try it? Did you think because I'm Johnny Football, I can handle this? I can do something that no one else has been able to do. Do a hard drug and be able to still function and do everything I need to do, even though I tried this.
Okay, that persona that I had on the football field of being able to have that confidence translated over into the party scene as well. I'm the guy,
Right.
Just like I am on the field, in the club, in the streets. So it's all in front of you if you want it and you're hanging around the wrong circles. It ain't hard to find at all.
Right.
So, you know, you get around people who you think you look up to or this or that, and then it just goes. And then it kind of goes and it snowballs and it keeps getting worse. And you go from cocaine to Oxycontin to Percocets to I look at the mushrooms as a different thing now. That's not a good thing to say, but like the harder drugs, the drugs that like tear you down. I never did anything with needles. Never did anything like that. But the coke and the oxys and the Percocet were very, very tumultuous in my life and like popped their head, especially the days of wandering around the Hollywood Hills. And it makes sense why you see me so sporadic and like I was 210 pounds when I left Cleveland. I was 170 pounds sitting in Vegas that August, that September, October, whatever it was later in that year.
40?
How you lose 40 pounds? You're on a strict diet of blow.
Oh, I was about to say, you don't want either one of them. I mean, you lose 40 pounds in that length of time, you're on crack.
Or Ozempic.
So that's the new thing now. Touche. You're right about that, bro.
And at that point in time, man, I would look in a mirror and I didn't see myself any different than when I was in Cleveland.
Really?
Until I stepped on a scale at the Cosmopolitan Hotel in Las Vegas, I didn't realize I had lost 40 pounds.
Wow.
At all. And people were hitting me up like this, and I remember these pictures came out, and I was like, damn, what am I doing? Whatever, we'll figure that out later. Let's go again.
Let's go again. So as an athlete, you're very competitive. When you do drugs, do you still have that competitive nature? Like when you with your boys, you're like, shh, man, I ain't finna let you one up me.
You can't. I'm a tank when it comes to the party. I mean, I could party, we hang with the best of them. Like, I ain't saying that to brag. It's not something to really sit
But it's
here
the truth.
and glorify, but it's true. You put somebody that you think in your life can really go that distance with the Henny or with the drugs or whatever you want. I'm gonna go 12 rounds with you.
I mean, Johnny, you a small man, bro.
I'm a little thick, I guess.
There are people saying Johnny Manziel will be bigger than LeBron James in Cleveland.
I think that person is Skip Bayless.
He definitely believed in you.
He did.
He believed in you, and his thing, to his credit, when he believes in a guy, yourself, Tim Tebow,
Baker.
Yeah.
Skip. I love you, bro. I hope you know that it was always love. And I honestly feel like I let him down, right?
Right.
I remember watching First Take religiously and being able to see him come on there and ride for me when everything was going on. I remember seeing the passion in his voice and the way he was animated when he would talk about me. So when I sign, I go to Cleveland, and this, Johnny Manziel will be bigger than LeBron. Like, okay, you got your clickbait, you got your headlines for that week type of thing. And it was never, ever going to be a reality. But because of me signing with LeBron and Mav, I had the opportunity to even be great in my own right.
Right.
They gave me the best fighting chance and built a team around me. And the thing that I realize now is the reason why they're probably still pissed at me to this day. They don't lose. They don't bet on anything that's not a sure thing. And what I did and the way I carried myself and the way that I was in my time during Cleveland was pure and blatant disrespect to them for giving me everything that I could have ever needed to be successful. So something that still to this day, I think now that we're talking about it, I haven't completely, truly got over yet, how I let them down. And I remember, this is how bad off I was whenever I was in Cleveland. LeBron would text me every week to come over to the house and watch a game or play poker with the boys and just tried to be there. And I was so depressed for the first time in my life that even my biggest role model and inspiration in my life couldn't get me out of bed to come and hang out with them. Wow. When I went to the Cavs games, I was in, I was out. I didn't really grasp and latch on to him in a way that I should have. And he tries to take me under his wing, right? And I'm just kind of nudging it away because of where my mental is and being just fully depressed in where I was in my life. Is that an excuse? Absolutely not. Because at the end of the day, the respect that I should have for them, giving me everything, should trump all else.
Did you really text a Browns coach during the draft and say, hey, let's wreck the league?
So me and Dow Loggins, who is my quarterback coach, we had a good relationship, and he was texting me throughout the draft, like, be patient, bro, be patient. We're coming to get you. And this was a very personal conversation between me and him that he told to a friend that then got spun into what it is today. Okay. So there was no, I'm still walking across the stage, doing all this. I'm doing my thing. Like, I'm more excited to go to Avenue in New York and party with Drake and the boys after to celebrate than I am really thinking about football at this time. Everything to me was like getting drafted in the first and going to this party afterwards. And like, it's what it was, the cherry on top of the whole thing was what it was for me. So, that was a very personal text that I sent that was internally supposed to motivate us to be and get to where we wanted to go, that then was spun as to me being this cocky, full-headed, egotistical little shit that doesn't know anything about the NFL. And I don't think that's necessarily how I was. Now you can ask Andrew Hawkins or Joe Thomas or Joe Hayden or, the legends in the building that we had with us, and they would probably tell you that I was carrying myself like that. From my perspective of things, that was never my intention, nor did I want to carry myself like that. It was against everything that I was raised and ingrained to be.
Did you want to go to Cleveland? Where did you want to get drafted?
Where did I want to get drafted?
Yeah.
Probably Dallas.
Better.
I love Jerry. I loved getting a chance to go to sporting events in that stadium and cross in circles with him. I loved getting the opportunity as a college Texas A&M kid to walk into that box and like rub shoulders with the honcho.
Yeah.
The guy.
Yeah.
So like, I love that. And 16th pick of that draft was Dallas. And I remember the anticipation in Radio City when that pick was coming up, and I had my fingers crossed under that table the entire time. Please, let me go put that star on my helmet. Looking back now, thank God that it didn't happen, because I wouldn't be sitting here today.
You're saying that you wanted to go to Dallas, you were hoping Dallas draft you, but you said you're glad you didn't go to Dallas because?
I think knowing what I was doing in Cleveland, how hard it was for me to party and move and do these kind of things, if you would have put me in a landscape that was my backyard, that I knew, I had been driving from College Station up to Dallas when there wasn't nothing going on in College Station.
Right.
So it was something I was familiar with. I know who I was hanging around at that point in my life. And I think it would have been just an absolute disaster, to the point of it wouldn't have been suicide that would have been the issue. It would have been drinking and driving. It would have been taking a bag from somebody you shouldn't take it from and just boom, could have been over in an instant. So I think I know myself well enough to be able to say that it would have been bad in its own right. And luckily, thankfully, it didn't happen, even though at that time it's what I wanted.
What were your study habits like in Cleveland? How often did you study? Did you watch tape? Did you study the game? When you're in meetings, were you attentive? What was Johnny's study habits, practice habits like?
I would say, Kyle Shanahan was the most detailed person that I had ever seen in my life. And I thought Cliff Kingsbury was really, really good, but Shanahan took it to a different level. He could coach 11, 12 positions on the offense. Detail, hat placement, hand placement, every single thing. So our meetings and things were incredibly detailed. My quarterback room was not a home for me because of Brian Hoyer. Brian Hoyer had been waiting on opportunity to be able to go really provide for his family, get an opportunity, and he saw how much of an upper hand he had on me, and he didn't hold back when it came to that. So there was instances in the quarterback room early on where I would ask the same question a couple times and he'd be at the head of the table and go, again? We're doing this again? Wow. Keep him out of it, right? Let's just cut that off. And I don't have a bad word to say about Brian Hoyer. That is just fact of what happened in that room. So when that happened.
So if we were to ask another quarterback that's in that room.
Go ask Connor Shaw. Go ask Connor Shaw, who played at South Carolina and was with us in Cleveland. Go ask him how Brian Hoyer was in that room. Go ask Dow Loggins how he was in that room. And it's okay. But at that point in time of where I was, and I'm the franchise guy, I could have used a little help, especially when they knew what I was doing. And I've said this before in the past, and people have said, why don't you take self-accountability for what it was and you not putting in the work? I didn't know what work like that was. I didn't know what the grind was because I was great at Texas A&M without it. So a sense of entitlement comes in that I can do it the same way because I don't know any better. So when you have that going on in the quarterback room, then I just do this. I ain't speaking. If I question something, I'm not asking. I'm embarrassed, right? I'm getting dogged by a guy who's supposed to be my teammate. When I don't know, I'm trying to figure it out. I don't know what cover 3 is. You know what we did at A&M? If that linebacker's tucked in and Swope's faster than him, bang, I'm throwing the bubble and he's down the sideline. I wasn't looking at safeties. I'm not looking at 1 high, 2 high rotation. My mind didn't work that way from a football player perspective. And then when I'm going into my safe space quarterback room, I'm getting, so I'm not saying a word. Now I'm struggling. Now I'm getting behind. Now I don't know the detail of the plays because I'm not going home and dialing it in even more. In the building, I studied film. I wanted to watch these Rex Grossman clips of Washington, the Shanahan. I wanted to watch RG3 2012 season. I wanted to see how you do this stuff. And I watched it. Did I grind it the way that Peyton Manning does? Absolutely not. I didn't even know that was a thing until Josh McCown got in the building the next year. And when Josh McCown came in, the shift in that room went through the roof of positivity. When I got there, he comes up to me and he goes, "You want to be a great quarterback?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Tie a string to the end of my backpack and you can follow me around wherever you want and I'll show you what it takes to really be a quarterback in the NFL." Now when that goes to the practice field and we're out there and we're dialing in these bang eights, we're throwing the comeback. McCown's sitting there like, "You can fucking do this. I can't make that throw, but you can." What do you think that does for a second-year player's confidence?
Through the roof.
Through the roof. Now our team as a whole is not the same. Our organization, in a sense, inside the building is still incredibly dysfunctional. But for those first 10, 12 weeks of the season in 2015, we're not winning. We only win 2 games that year. But me as a football player, I'm growing. John DeFilippo, who's our offensive coordinator, we're growing together. His energy in the room and what it is positive. And it's me, Josh McCown, and Connor Shaw again. And there is a huge shift in that quarterback room that next year. And I start to get confidence and I start to do this. And then life happens to me again to where I'm not taking care of myself. and I'm frustrated in the building. And I'll never forget, probably about week 13 or 14 of the season, I'm walking out of Coach Pettin's office, or I'm upstairs in the where the coaches' offices are in Cleveland. And I walk by Jimmy O'Neill's office, and he's like, "Hey, Johnny, come in here for a sec." I'm like, "Oh, it's our defensive coordinator." I'm like, "What's up, coach?" And I'm chill with everybody. Like, I'm up, that's just how I am. And he's like, he's sitting back at his desk, kind of got his foot up, and he goes, "We'd be a really good football player if you got your head out of your ass." And I'm like, so caught off guard. Now this confidence that I'm building is immediately just, I don't know if he meant it in a way, or just like, you're 2-12 and your team is struggling and you're like, looking to ways to vent or whatever it was. But this happened. And when I left that office and I went back down to the quarterback room, I was white as a ghost. So white that Josh McCown looked at me just like you are and was like, "What happened?" And I'm like stuttering through this story, and Josh McCown gets up out of his seat and walks straight up to that fucking office. Now, what was said, I don't exactly know what it is, but when he came back in that room, he was pissed. He said, "You don't do that. In this league with a young guy and somebody like you just don't
build him up. You can't break his confidence."
Break me in half." And from there, I was broken. I didn't give a fuck. I didn't care about that team. I didn't care about that, what my role was. And there's no excuse. All of these things led up to be the perfect failure. And at the end of the day, it's on my shoulders. But when you're starting to get a little momentum and you get broken like that, that's when the running to Vegas happened and me missing the last game of the season. That's when the wig story comes out, and when I'm really like running 2-3 weeks after this. When this happened, I go straight home. I go straight to my basement. I get the biggest bottle of Hennessy out of the bottom of the drawer, and now I'm sitting in the basement. I'm listening to Future every second, every day. I'm partying by myself just to try and like get out of this reality of a situation that I'm living in, with a head coach that wants nothing to do with me, with a DC who's saying if I get my head out of my ass, we'll have a chance. Just this whole perfect storm of just like, fuck this. And when that happened, I was done.
What was your relationship like with Josh Gordon? You had a guy, and we know he's had his issues, his struggles, very similar to what you're sharing with us right now. What was your relationship with Josh?
Great. I saw a side of Josh that the rest of the world didn't get to see. I saw a guy that was from that trap, from that bad neighborhood growing up, who had beat the odds to be able to get there. One of the most physically talented specimens that you'll ever see on a football field. He struggled with a lot of the same things that I struggle with. And I tried my best throughout those times to be a better influence around Josh than a lot of other people were, because a lot of his boys didn't give a shit at that point in time. And, should I have done things differently in our relationship to not, sway him certain ways? Because I think I definitely had the juice. We didn't do drugs together.
You didn't do drugs?
We didn't do drugs together. He would, he loved the weed, man. He loved it. And when he would come over to my apartment, all he ever wanted to do was roll it and put it on the counter. He just wanted to be included on the whole thing,
right,
which is the way his mind kind of worked. But he never smoked around me. He never, we went on trips together. We went to Aspen. We went everywhere. Like, JG was my dog to the core. And funny you asked, I just spoke to him yesterday, and he sounds like he's in the best place that I've seen him in years. That's awesome. And it takes time and getting away from it. And for me and him, we're talking about golf now. And golf is kind of like an avenue that I never thought me and JG would be able to like talk about golf, go play. And like, golf has really shifted my mindset and being able to still continuously give me competition. But it's, as much as it is against other people when you're playing, golf is always about yourself and battling yourself, 6 inches between your ears, and then, getting in a good headspace to go up and hit a good shot.
John, I want to get you out on here. You mentioned that once you left Cleveland, that you contemplated suicide and you spent all your money. Clearly, that's the lowest point of your life. Was it a culmination of, I'm not where I thought I would be as far as in the NFL? You're in the NFL, but you're not playing, and you're not you feel you're not getting the support that you need or deserves in order for Johnny to be Johnny, because sometimes you need somebody, just a little support. You need somebody to say, Johnny, hey bro, you can do this, pat you on the back instead of kick you in the butt all the time. When did you know? So what happened when you're contemplating taking your own life?
It's different. It's not that I don't have the support. It's not that I don't have the team, because at that point in time, I had every single person you could ever think trying to reach out. And I'm just blocking people at every single turn. And I think for me, it was something I didn't find out until I went to play in Canada again. I remember having this feeling in Cleveland that I didn't love football, okay? But it was a feeling. And when I didn't play for a while and I'm out of the league and I'm trying to get back in, I ended up going to Canada. And when I walked into that locker room for the first time and walked out on a practice football field, every single feeling that I had felt in that Cleveland locker room came back to me in that Canadian locker room. And I knew right then and there that I didn't truly, truly love this game to the point of where I need to do what I need to do to be successful. So the suicide thing comes in when you look at life and you say, I fucked up the biggest golden opportunity that you could have ever imagined. And this is where I think whenever you said what you said about the Fan Controlled Football League, it is sad, Shannon. What you said on that day is exactly right. It is sad to watch a guy who had all the potential in the world, all the opportunity, all the resources and team around him, and he still goes, fuck that. But what if I told you today that I don't think that I loved what I was doing enough to ever get into the mix of doing it the right way? I went through that period with Josh McCown where we did it, but like it never was like over the top. And I'm not in the gym, I'm not grinding, I'm not doing the things that I did back in the day that made me great. So now I realize that I didn't love the game of football like that. I just happened to be immensely talented at it. I happened to have great teammates around me, great coaches, great perfect storm to be able to get me to walk across that hall at Radio City Music Hall, walk across that stage. So that feeling came back in Canada. I realized I don't love the game. And then when the game's gone from you, there's a huge transition, and every guy will tell you what the transition is to figuring out your identity and who you are as a person. And I truly feel like from 2017 on, that's 7 years, that's what I've been doing. And my mission has been to try and stay away, get a little bit of this hype off me, and just live and find out about life, to be a great uncle, to be a great brother, to be a great son, to be a great role model for Texas A&M, to be a great alumni, a leader, to be a great resource for my guys who play at Texas A&M. And these are all things that I'm trying to do moving forward that I've completely neglected in the past.
If I could say, Johnny, you could go back, what would probably be one of the two things that you wish you could do over?
If I could go back to a certain point in time, I would drop myself right after that in the locker room of the Oklahoma game in the Cotton Bowl. Knowing what I know now, I would have known how to handle myself. I would have known how important and imperative it is to be a better teammate than just numbers on a field on Saturday. There's something to be said about how your guys ride for you when you're doing the right things in the building. And that 2013 year for us at Texas A&M, a lot of internal problems were happening because their leader is distracted. Their horse that makes this whole carriage go is fucked up. And the shame that I have for letting guys down like Cedric Aboye and Jake Matthews and Mike Evans is the same shame that I carry with me to this day about letting down Joe Thomas as a guy who's in the end of his Hall of Fame career and is looking for somebody to come in and lead this team, and then you get me. It's tough, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to have been the guy that have let down some overall really great athletes of my time and of my generation. Something I carry hopefully with my head high right now, but at the same time, internally, I know it eats me alive because they did more for me than I gave in return to them. And what a shallow, kind of selfish way of life that I was living at that point in time. And I have a lot of regret. Like, I regret wasting a couple of Joe Thomas's last years in Cleveland. I regret disrespecting LeBron and not taking
advantage of that situation.
That's making sure what it meant to me. Showing him that I give a fuck enough to just do what's right, to listen to Mav and listen to the team they built around me. You know, it fucks me up that I messed up our second year at Texas A&M and we went 7-4 or whatever, because that was our chance to win a national title.
You had a monster game against Duke.
Had a cool game against Duke. One that was like a legendary kind of tale on it, but like I almost wish to this day that we lost that game because I would have came back.
Right.
So us having that legendary run against a bowl game that's kind of like, kind of wish we would have lost, because then I would have came back with a vengeance. And I probably wouldn't have got drafted because I would have gotten in trouble.
Right.
But it doesn't sit right with me, certain things. And those are three things. How I wasted my 2013 season, how I treated the legends in that building in Cleveland, and how I treated LeBron and Mav. And, you know, from there I can even take it a step further and say in 2016, I don't think I treated Drake the way that I should have, with representing the clothes that I was wearing and his OVO brand and his label and everything. You know, at that point in time, I was so selfish that I was dragging everybody that was tied to me through the mud. Now, it's regret. I'm not harboring on this in any kind of way. I'm just calling it exactly what it is and the way that I feel about it. And, you know, I owe those people an apology. And hopefully one day down the line, I'll be able to have the opportunity as a man to be able to look them in the eye and be able to do that.
As we sit here today, how is Johnny Manziel doing?
Probably the happiest I've ever been in my life. And I think I went through a period of time after the documentary came out where I maybe acted a little bit like I did in the past. And it's easy to let ego and fame and stuff kind of creep back in. And what I've done now since really, you know, December-ish, you know, it's new, 3 months, but I've insulated myself in a way with a team that I can trust, people that I love that are doing nothing but looking out for my best wishes, best regards. They know me. They're not letting me cheat. They're holding me accountable. And it's not going to happen overnight. It is going to be a slow, gradual process to get to who I want to be as a man. But in my opinion, sitting here today with you, enjoying the hell out of this conversation, I feel like I'm on the right path to where I need to go. And as Johnny Manziel, not as Johnny Football.
You were once married, and this is the last one. You were once married. Could you see yourself being married again, or is there someone in Johnny Manziel's life that's keeping Johnny grounded?
Nope. It is my friends right now, my family. You know, it is my 2 nieces with a 3rd one on the way that I talk to every single day on FaceTime that are really my reason why I'm still here.
Right.
And a huge reason of my success is based off my sister and my mother and my father and my true core friends and my team I have around me. So love will come when it comes, but for right now, I'm focused on getting a bag, taking care of my money, getting back to where I need to be, being the best brother, being the best uncle, and being there for my family and my university in a way I need to be to make people proud that I want to make proud. I don't want to continuously keep letting people down when I feel like I'm destined for bigger, greater things than that in life.
I am so proud that you're sitting here today and you found your reason to live. Want to join Club Shay Shay? Become an official member by hitting that subscribe button, where you never know who's going to be joining us for drinks and conversation. Don't be late to the party, because you know we like to do something before 2 something.